So we are finally ending a very long stretch of back-to-back weather impact alert days. I'm meteorologist Meredith Garofalo, and I have been talking with the team all week about just all the different ways we can prepare for the heat and stay safe during the heat. And I'm so lucky today to have an opportunity to talk to Lieutenant Nick Davis from the Columbus Fire. What would you say is the most important safety tip you guys have been talking about all week?
Prevention. So hydration, prevention, keeping your ambient environment cool. That's why we have the fan drive. I touched on these stats, and I'm going to hammer home on them. So half your weight in ounces is a baseline for what you should be drinking in water. I know everyone likes Gatorade and some of these other drinks, but it's a lot of sugar, so we should focus on water. Some other stats I like to point out are last week alone we had about 67 heat-related emergencies, and of the 67 we transported about 42 people to the hospital for a heat-related emergency. And so we just want to prevent that. Some of the other points I want to hammer home are like the high-risk population, so the senior citizens and then younger children. Senior citizens might not have access to the resources that most day-to-day people are available with, so we have to be sure to look out for them. Same thing with the children. We have to look out for them and make sure that we're looking for signs. So some signs for heat-related emergency: sweating profusely, dizziness, nausea, some vomiting, maybe kind of a stupor. So we should look for that and be cognizant of that. And then, we're always available for an emergency, so just reach out.
And I know we were talking about this earlier. I mean, we recently, unfortunately, had a hot car death that was associated with a child. And you said something that just stuck with me. I don't think people realize that it's like a magnifying glass when the sun is coming through your car. And whether it's your kid or your pet, I mean, it can do the serious damage and become deadly very quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like a magnifying glass where, children play with ants, right? So we have to be cognizant of that. And I know people are busy, and they say to themselves, "Well, I can run into the store real quick for about 2 minutes." But 2 minutes can turn into 10 or 15 minutes, and that's a long time in a hot car with very limited airflow. So we have to be cognizant of that. We go on a lot of runs where we get children locked in vehicles, and it could be no fault of the parent. Maybe the child got into the car and hit the lock button, and then they couldn't get out. So they're scared, the parents are scared, and that's an emergency incident. So we have to be cognizant of that. Just look out for them, and just prevention is our key talking point.
And I think people should realize the kind of car they have. Obviously, seats are different in every car, and some car, like the fabric on the seating, is more dangerous than others.
Yeah, like leather seats, obviously a lot more hot than cloth seats, right? The other thing you mentioned with pets too. So I might be walking down the sidewalk and I'm in shoes, but a pet, they're with their paws are pretty sensitive. So if it's 95 degrees out, how hot is the pavement? It could be 105, could be 110. That's pretty hot for our four-legged friends, right? So we got to be cognizant of that too. Same thing with children. Children like to run around with their bare feet.
The sprinklers.
The sprinklers, they love the sprinklers, but that patio or that driveway could be scalding hot, so we got to be cognizant of that as well.
And you guys have been on a lot of calls, I'm sure, this week. Is there something that's been reoccurrent that we think we really need to focus in on when we're talking about heat safety and prevention?
I think just hydration. If I can hammer home the half your body weight in ounces of water, that would probably limit a lot of our heat-related emergencies. And you got to be about 24 hours ahead of time. So we got Red, White, and Boom coming up next week. That's going to be on the 3rd and 4th. All these surrounding municipalities are doing theirs on different days, so you should be a day ahead of that. So on June 1st, June 2nd, be drinking a lot of water to be prepared for long walks and high heat index.
What about home safety? I mean, we also recently talked about a story where we had a propane tank that exploded in somebody's garage. I mean, are there certain things you may not realize are in your garage or in your car that during peak daytime heating hours, leaving it in those locations could be dangerous or even deadly?
Yeah, I mean, we're pushing a lot of the electric cars. They get in a heat runoff kind of thing, so we got to be cognizant of that, keep an eye on them. The propane tanks I can't really speak to. I don't know if there was an issue with the valve, but you could have those issues if you have a leaky propane tank in an enclosed area. That could create a explosive environment that would cause flames and explosion, correct? So that's an issue to be cognizant of. Some other little tidbits is with air conditioning units, 90% of the maintenance preventable maintenance is just to replace your air filter every month. You do that, you're probably as good as golden to keep your good airflow throughout your house and temperature controlled environment.
How about people that are going to be outdoors? Because, I mean, everybody wants to have fun. We know there's the heat alerts in place, but you're still going to see people at the pool.
Yep.
You're still going to be out maybe going for that jog, or we are both golfers.
Yeah,
You might
yeah.
still be out going to the golf course. I mean, what are some tips that you should just maybe have a small checklist in your head so you can still go out and have a good time and not worry about heat exhaustion, for example?
Well, what I like to do out on the course is a lot of water, a lot of ice, so I can have an ice rag, and then also maybe some like watermelon or some berries, some like high water content fruits and vegetables, just to keep me hydrated as I'm passively eating a snack. So those are some other tidbits you can do for the upcoming 4th of July holiday. Just have a cooler full of some fruit and vegetables and some cooling rags and a bunch of water.
I know it's hard to believe the holidays are right around the
know.
corner, but are there any other really important tips that you think we need to talk about when it comes to heat safety? I mean, I know we seem like broken records when we have these days after days of heat, and especially with the humidity. I mean, I don't think people realize too that sometimes whether it's dry heat or it's this moist heat like we have right now, it's still heat, it's still really dangerous.
Yeah, just be cognizant. Prevention, look out for each other, look out for your friends and family, reach out to them if they need anything, a fan, a supply of water, cooling rags. Just look out for each other. That's all we can ask for.
And I think on that note, we have to also remember there might be a lot of people in our neighborhoods, in our communities, someone that's elderly, maybe someone that has a disability that might need extra help. Maybe it's having a community planner, just checking in with your neighbors. I mean, we're all here to help each other out, right?
Absolutely. We try to do that out at the fire stations when we're going around. We know our high-risk population, so we do welfare checks a lot of the times. And then, be neighborly. A lot of the people in this great city are very neighborly, and they're good about calling us or letting us know, like, hey, can you check in on Mrs. Smith, make sure she's good. So we're relying on that as well. So we appreciate it, and we're here to serve.
Another thing I was thinking about too is I always talk during storm season about having a hurricane prep kit, a severe weather prep kit. We should also have prep kits for heat waves because we can lose electricity too, and sometimes it can be 4 days.
Yeah, we call them bug out bags or ditty bags, right, for equipment that we use. So some things you can put in a bug out bag would be like a first aid kit, maybe some of those liquid IV kind of gel packs, some cooling packs that you can crack open and cool off. We have those on our ambulances, and we give those out all the time because people just ask, hey, can I just have an ice pack just to cool my neck off? Yeah, absolutely. So that'd be something you can have in your bug out bag.
I like that. I guess I'm going to need to work on my bag because I think you go through them pretty quickly. Anything else that we can talk about that you think we should just keep in the back of our mind as we move forward? Because this is not going to be the last heat wave. It's not the first, but as long as we're prepared, and especially when we're working with our community leaders and maybe keeping the 911 lines down for emergencies that aren't really emergencies.
Yeah, I just think preparedness, awareness, and just keep pushing that talking point of hydration and prevention of heat-related emergencies. Look out for the signs and symptoms, like I said, nausea, some vomiting in severe cases, flushed skin, and severe cases you'd have no sweating just because it's an extreme heat emergency. So just look out for signs and symptoms, look out for your neighbor, and take care of each other.
Well, I really appreciate it, Lieutenant Nick Davis. We appreciate having you here from the Columbus Fire. And remember, the best thing to do to beat the heat is preparedness. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your neighbors, and take care of your community.